Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're delving into one of the most perplexing and haunting mysteries of the past few decades, the unsolved murder of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey. This case has captivated millions, raising more questions than answers and leaving an indelible mark on society. From the eerie ransom note to the extensive media frenzy, the JonBenét Ramsey case remains a topic of intense speculation and intrigue. So, let's journey back to 1996 and explore the depths of this tragic and enigmatic story. JonBenét Patricia Ramsey was born on August 6, 1990, in Atlanta, Georgia, to JonBenét Ramsey and Patricia Patsy Ramsey. John was a successful businessman heading Access Graphics, a computer software company, while Patsy was a former Miss West Virginia, known for her charisma and community involvement. In 1991, the family relocated to the picturesque city of Boulder, Colorado, where John's business continued to thrive, boosting their social status. JonBenét, a bright and energetic child, soon became a regular on the child beauty pageant circuit. Following in her mother's footsteps, she participated in numerous competitions, winning titles such as America's Royale Miss, Little Miss Charlevoix, and National Tiny Miss Beauty. Her performances showcased her charm and talent, but also placed her under intense public scrutiny at a young age. The Ramsey family appeared to embody the quintessential American dream: wealthy, respected, and involved in their community. They resided in a stately Tudor-style home and were active members of their church and various social circles. Despite occasional whispers about the pageant lifestyle and its pressures, there were no significant public indications of discord or issues within the family before the tragedy that would soon unfold. December 25, 1996, was supposed to be a day of joy for the Ramsey family. They hosted and attended holiday gatherings, sharing festive cheer with friends and loved ones. JonBenét, brimming with excitement over her Christmas gifts, went to bed alongside her older brother, Burke, satisfied with the day's celebrations. In the early hours of December 26th, at around 5:30 a.m., Patsy Ramsey awoke to prepare for the family's planned trip to their vacation home in Michigan. As she descended the grand staircase, she was met with a chilling sight: a handwritten ransom note placed on the steps. The note claimed that JonBenét had been kidnapped by a small foreign faction and demanded a ransom of $118,000 for her safe return. Patsy immediately screamed for John and called 911 at 5:52 a.m., her voice panicked and distraught. Officers from the Boulder Police Department arrived swiftly. However, the scene was chaotic. Friends and neighbors were summoned for support, and the house was not secured, leading to significant contamination of potential evidence. Only JonBenét's bedroom was initially treated as a crime scene, while other areas remained accessible. Throughout the morning, the Ramseys awaited contact from the kidnappers, but no communication came. Detective Linda Arndt, the only detective on the scene, grew increasingly uneasy. At her suggestion, John Ramsey and family friend Fleet White conducted a search of the house. At around 1 p.m., John discovered the lifeless body of JonBenét in a seldom-used basement room. She was found with a garrote around her neck, her wrists bound, and a piece of duct tape over her mouth. John carried her upstairs, further complicating the preservation of the crime scene. The family was engulfed in grief, and questions began to mount about how such a tragedy could occur within their own home. One of the most perplexing aspects of the case is the ransom note found by Patsy Ramsey. Unusually long at over 2.5 pages, the note demanded $118,000 for JonBenét's safe return, mirroring the amount of John's recent bonus. The note contained inconsistencies and bizarre phrases, such as, "We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction," and concluded with "Victory, SBTC." Handwriting analysis was conducted, but results were inconclusive. Patsy could not be definitively identified as the author. John and Burke were ruled out. The fact that the note was written on paper from the Ramsey home with one of their pens suggested it was composed within the house, raising doubts about an intruder's involvement. The unusual length and convoluted content of the note led to widespread speculation about its authenticity. Experts noted that ransom notes are typically brief and to the point, adding to suspicions that the note was staged to mislead investigators. The ransom note remains a central piece of evidence, fueling debates and theories about who wrote it and why. Its peculiarities continue to intrigue handwriting experts, criminal profilers, and the general public. The discovery of JonBenét's body in the Ramsey home intensified the mystery surrounding her death. After hours of waiting for a ransom call that never came, Detective Arndt suggested that John Ramsey and Fleet White search the house for anything unusual. Around 1 p.m., John found JonBenét in a basement room, often referred to as the wine cellar. She was lying on the floor, covered with a white blanket. A cord was around her neck, her wrists were bound, and duct tape covered her mouth. Evidence suggested she had suffered a blow to the head and strangulation with a garrote fashioned from a paintbrush, part of Patsy's art supplies. In a state of shock, John picked up his daughter's body and brought her upstairs, which, though understandable in his grief, further contaminated potential evidence. The family's reactions were of profound shock and sorrow, with Patsy collapsing upon seeing her daughter. The fact that JonBenét was found inside the home cast significant doubt on the kidnapping scenario proposed in the ransom note. It raised critical questions about the circumstances of her death and who could have been responsible for such a heinous act within their own residence. The Boulder Police Department's handling of the investigation was marred by significant errors that hindered the pursuit of justice. From the moment officers arrived, proper protocols were not followed. The crime scene was not secured adequately. Friends and family moved freely throughout the house, potentially destroying or contaminating vital evidence. Only JonBenét's bedroom was sealed off, while other areas, including the basement where her body was found, remained accessible. The decision to allow John Ramsey to search the house was a critical misstep. His discovery and movement of JonBenét's body disrupted the original crime scene, complicating forensic analysis. Evidence preservation was poor. Investigators failed to collect all possible forensic samples promptly. Potentially crucial DNA evidence and fibers may have been lost due to delays and contamination. Additionally, the initial call to action was mishandled. The FBI, experienced in kidnapping cases, offered assistance, but was limited due to the local police's belief that the situation was a domestic matter. The failure to immediately treat the house as a potential crime scene resulted in missed opportunities to collect untainted evidence. There was also a lack of coordination between the police and the district attorney's office, leading to conflicts over investigative direction. The Ramseys were not formally interviewed until months later, and initial suspicions focused heavily on them without fully exploring other leads. These procedural errors had lasting impacts, undermining the integrity of the investigation and fueling public skepticism. The mishandling of the case served as a cautionary tale, highlighting the importance of proper crime scene management, interagency cooperation, and adherence to investigative protocols in solving complex cases. The JonBenét Ramsey case quickly became a media sensation, captivating audiences nationwide and turning the Ramsey family into household names. The combination of a young, blonde beauty queen, affluent parents, and a mysterious murder was irresistible to tabloids and mainstream media alike. News outlets flooded Boulder, and every aspect of the case was dissected on television, in newspapers, and later on the internet. The media's portrayal of the Ramsey family was often unflattering, framing them as suspicious due to their wealth, social status, and perceived lack of emotional display during public appearances. Sensational headlines speculated about the family's involvement, with some outlets suggesting that Patsy or Burke might have been responsible for JonBenét's death. Talk shows and tabloid articles fueled public speculation, often disregarding journalistic integrity and the presumption of innocence. This intense scrutiny had a twofold effect. It pressured law enforcement agencies while also potentially tainting the jury pool and public perception. The relentless media coverage made it challenging for the Ramseys to live normal lives and complicated the investigation by introducing numerous rumors and unfounded theories. Moreover, the case highlighted the media's role in shaping public opinion, often blurring the lines between responsible journalism and sensationalism. The extensive coverage arguably influenced investigative priorities and created additional obstacles in the pursuit of justice. From the beginning, the spotlight of suspicion fell on the Ramsey family. Many theorized that Patsy Ramsey might have been involved, possibly in a fit of rage or an accidental incident, with the ransom note serving as a cover-up. Handwriting experts were divided on whether she authored the note, with some noting similarities. Others speculated that Burke Ramsey, then 9 years old, could have been responsible, perhaps unintentionally harming his sister during a sibling conflict. The parents might have then staged the scene to protect their son. Evidence such as the pineapple found in JonBenét's stomach, which matched a bowl with Burke's fingerprints, fueled this theory. John Ramsey faced suspicion due to his composed demeanor and the ransom amount matching his bonus. However, no concrete evidence directly linked him to the crime, and he consistently maintained his innocence. The Ramseys consistently denied any involvement, cooperating with authorities through legal representation and participating in media interviews to assert their innocence. In 1999, a grand jury voted to indict the Ramseys for child abuse resulting in death, but the district attorney declined to prosecute, citing insufficient evidence. To this day, no definitive proof has emerged implicating any family member, but the theories persist in public discourse, reflecting the enduring intrigue and complexity of the case. The alternative theory posits that an unknown intruder broke into the Ramsey home and committed the crime. Evidence supporting this includes an unidentified bootprint found near JonBenét's body and signs of forced entry at a broken basement window. DNA evidence collected from JonBenét's clothing did not match any family members and remains unidentified. This has been a cornerstone for those advocating the intruder theory. Suspects ranged from local residents to known sex offenders in the area. One notable suspect was John Mark Carr, a schoolteacher who falsely confessed to the murder in 2006. His DNA did not match the evidence, and he was subsequently dismissed as a suspect. The intruder theory suggests that the ransom note was a deliberate attempt by the perpetrator to mislead investigators. However, critics argue that it would be highly risky for an intruder to spend the time required to write such a lengthy note within the house. Despite extensive investigation into external suspects, no arrests have been made, and the intruder theory remains unproven but plausible given certain evidence. It continues to be a significant focus for those seeking to solve the case. In the years since JonBenét's death, advancements in DNA technology have led to re-examinations of evidence. In 2008, the Boulder district attorney formally cleared the Ramseys, citing new DNA evidence pointing to an unknown male. This decision was controversial, with critics arguing that the DNA could be from secondary transfer. In 2016, the 20th anniversary of the case brought renewed interest. Documentaries and investigative reports explored new angles, while law enforcement expressed intentions to utilize genealogical DNA databases, a method successful in other cold cases. Additionally, in 2021, it was reported that the Boulder Police Department had received over 21,000 tips, letters, and emails regarding the case. They continue to follow up on leads, with detectives assigned exclusively to the investigation. The possibility of using advanced forensic genealogy techniques has raised hopes for a breakthrough. Community efforts have also persisted, with individuals conducting independent research and analysis. Online forums and true crime communities remain active, reflecting the enduring public interest. The Ramsey family has continued their efforts to clear their names and find justice for JonBenét. Burke Ramsey filed defamation lawsuits against media outlets and individuals who accused him of involvement, highlighting the ongoing impact of the case on their lives. Despite the passage of time, the hope for a resolution endures. The commitment of law enforcement, coupled with technological advancements, keeps the possibility alive that JonBenét's murderer may one day be identified. The mishandling of the JonBenét Ramsey investigation prompted significant changes in law enforcement procedures, particularly in handling high-profile cases. Recognizing the detrimental effects of the initial errors, police departments across the country reevaluated their protocols for securing crime scenes and preserving evidence. Moreover, the case prompted a reevaluation of how law enforcement interacts with victims' families. Training now emphasizes sensitivity and avoiding premature judgments that can hinder cooperation. The importance of utilizing experts in child homicides and consulting with federal agencies in complex cases has been recognized. Educational programs in criminal justice and forensic science often use the JonBenét Ramsey case as a teaching tool, highlighting both the investigative pitfalls and the ethical considerations involving media relations and public communication. These improvements aim to prevent the repetition of similar mistakes, enhancing the ability of law enforcement to solve crimes efficiently and justly. The legacy of the case extends beyond procedural changes. It has influenced legislation related to child protection and victims' rights, reinforcing society's commitment to safeguarding the most vulnerable. Over 2 decades later, the murder of JonBenét Ramsey remains an unsettling mystery, a case that has deeply affected her family and society. The unanswered questions and numerous theories reflect both the complexity of the investigation and the enduring impact of the tragedy. While the case has brought about changes in law enforcement practices and sparked discussions on media ethics, the most poignant aspect remains the loss of an innocent life. As advancements in forensic science continue, there is hope that one day the truth will emerge, bringing closure to a case that has haunted the public consciousness. JonBenét's story underscores the importance of diligent investigative work, responsible media coverage, and reminds us of the fragility of life and the profound effects of crimes that go unsolved. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the JonBenét Ramsey case. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on unsolved mysteries and historical events. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.